to Edward Bilder, and this is my first live stream of the 2021 season. I did one of these once before, probably back in 2020 for PPP updates, but today will be a first live stream hosting. We're going to cover a lot of national news here today. We're going to talk about supply chain, inflation disruptions, EIDL. We're going to talk about what's happening with some of the short-term rental deals out there that I analyze on a daily basis here with interested parties who tune into the channel. So we're going to talk about quite a few different things here today. Hoping you guys are all out there and you guys are enjoying your day today. We're going to start out with some general topics around EIDL. If you guys are joining us for the first time, go ahead and drop your comments in. We'll try and get some things answered for everybody as we're going through the live stream. Just trying to get in live as well. Welcome everybody. Let's see, I can't view my comments for some reason. Bless you as well. How you guys doing today? Are you guys tuning in for live streams? Are you guys tuning in for investor topics, national news? Hey, Angela. Good to see you guys as well. You guys are stuck with reconsideration. Morning from Chicago. Hey, James, how you guys doing today? Seems to be that a lot of the topics are around reconsideration. Coming in from numerous states. I saw Chicago. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Today's my first live stream. I'm sure you could probably tell this is my first time live streaming. Many of you tune into the channel to catch EIDL updates. So really, it's a learning experience for me as well. Tuning in from Florida. All right. So I asked the question, are you guys mostly here for EIDL topics, national news? Michigan wants to know. Texas. All topics, EIDL topics. I'm sure many of you are waiting on loan modifications, possibly waiting on reconsideration. How about grants? Anybody out there waiting on grants? EIDL over 500K. Over 500K reconsideration, is that what I just saw there? And waiting on deposits, national news and Airbnb. Airbnb topics. Scott posted for Airbnb topics. What state are you coming from, Scott? EIDL advanced application process. So the EIDL advanced application process, let me touch on that briefly here quickly for everybody. The EIDL grant application process only comes after you've applied for the loan. So if you are in the queue and you're reaching out for, say, a new grant, brand new grant for the first time, you will need to apply for the loans or possibly the loan modification. That is the only way that you're going to get a grant application at this time. And once you get the grant application, remember you have to qualify under qualifying criteria. You have to be found in the low income zones on the low income map. That's found at the SBA's website, sba.gov. $29 taxes. So just got a question. What happens if my 2019 taxes, are they stuck in amendment? Minimum credit score for the loans under $500,000 is a 570. If you're looking for over 500,000, so far I'm hearing it's a 615, 615. Seeing a lot of people that finally got through with their EIDL loans. Congratulations, everybody out there who finally got themselves approved. Diamond Mills. Hello, Diamond. Streaming settings have moved. So if you guys are looking for the loan modifications over $500,000, the process currently is automated. It is an automated process. They will not call you to approve over $500,000. It'll just happen. Design documents may each time I checked. Application still in process. So that leads to a very good point. Somebody just said that they keep calling and checking in with the SBA to see where they are in the process for their loan modification. I made a video here over the weekend that if you're doing this regularly and say you're checking in daily and you're asking the generic question, can you tell me the status of my loan? Every time you call customer service, they will go into the portal and they'll update a note on your file that says that you called to ask that same question. They have to dive in and out of the portal numerous times and go through all of the questions. And if you've called regularly over the past, say, 2 months, that could be 60 times that person has to dive in and out. So they put out a general announcement. They haven't told many people this, but some of the loan officers are kind of telling the YouTube casters that to make an announcement to go back in, call one final time to customer service and go through the checklist with them. Ask them, if everything has been provided on file and go straight through the checklist. Say, hey, have you received my form 2202? If you find that something is missing, get yourself the form 222, have it available on your computers and tell them to send it over immediately. You'll say, hey, I'll email this to you. Can you upload it into my file? But go through the checklist, go through form 2202, ask them if your 4506T is on file, find out if they received your voided check, find out if that is on file. They'll check your bank account to make sure everything matches, routing numbers and names. Obviously, if your taxes are still stuck in backlog, it's always good to find out that answer before you make the phone call. So find out if your taxes are stuck in backlog by pulling your own tax transcript and seeing if it comes back with any data or if there's data missing. What is the real checklist? See if they have a board resolution on file. That means if you are a entity, you will need to have some board resolution on file that basically states you are the authorizer for this loan and you can request this loan. If there are multiple people found inside your business, you'll need to hold just a basic generic board meeting and cover all the basics that you're asking for X amount of thousands of dollars. Maybe it's $200,000, maybe it's $600,000. Get that written down, have everybody sign off on it, and then allow you to be the authorizer to speak directly with the SBA. Also, make sure that they have your hazard insurance on file. Very important to have hazard insurance on file. If you do not have hazard insurance, you can go out and get yourself hazard insurance. It's actually not as expensive as most people think. On the intro to many of my videos, and I'm not sponsored by these guys, but Buy Burke, it's a Berkshire Hathaway company. They are set up to sell you EIDL insurance. I mean, they've basically recognized that there's a need to sell EIDL insurance, and so they created a special package just for that. When they ask for the loan documents, yes. So if they call you and they reach out to you through email or phone call, asking about documentation, yes, that does mean that they are reviewing your documentation. So while you're on that final phone call, go through that checklist with them, find out if all of your documents have been submitted, and ask them to write one final note across the top, the very last one that you should actually have to call in for. If everything is available, and inside your portal, ask them to basically make one statement that says you conducted a review with the caller and that everything is on file. List out all of the items that you just covered. And when the loan officer goes to see the information, they'll actually escalate this through when they recognize that everything is on file. And since this video came out, we're actually seeing a lot of individuals that are finding themselves approved because they've gone in, made that one final statement, one final phone call, and it basically says everything is available on file. We ran a checklist. All items are here that are needed for approval. Please process through the system, and it does get you into the system much faster. So if you've already received the 24 months of working capital, no, you cannot receive any additional funds greater than that. The formula is your net, whatever is is your gross, whatever is across the top line, minus cost of goods sold, times 2. So if that is the current max, up to $2 million, then that is the current max you can receive. Now, in some instances, over $500,000 loans are being denied. And that is primarily because they do not believe that you'll be able to pay these back. So what you do if you've been denied for greater than $500,000, go through the reconsideration process. It's very important that you have yourselves in the queue prior to December 31st of 2021. That's the most important option, that you're going to want to get yourself into the queue, because reconsideration, you could go through numerous attempts after December 31st of 2021 to get yourselves approved. So let's say you don't get approved today. It does give you the opportunity to keep correcting and updating information as time moves on past the deadline. Airbnb. So some of you are tuning in today to talk about some Airbnb strategies. Is anybody out there interested in opening Airbnbs in their own areas? Use the same email to submit missing documents. Yes, you use the COVID EIDL increased loan requests to submit additional documentation. It's the same one that you submitted your loan modification through. Georgia. So I saw Georgia and Tennessee asking questions on Airbnb. I gotta ask, do you guys know? Do you guys know how to analyze Airbnbs? I've got a Florida Airbnb interested. Sometimes it's best. I see Texas there. So I saw Georgia, Texas, and Orlando, Florida. And I like to do this with callers. So you guys know I have Zoom calls. I do Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm seeing Utah, Florida, Georgia, and Tennessee, and Texas. I'm just gonna start there, guys. All right. So it's good to before you go out and spend a ton of money in South Carolina, before you guys go out and spend a ton of money on determining if you want to be inside of Airbnb, it's always good to just take a big reality check and check your own market, check your areas before you get yourselves totally invested into something, because you might actually find that your area is either just not a good market, not a good fit for it, or that the area is so saturated that your margins are going to be very small in those areas. All right, so I do this in the Zoom calls, and I also do this when I speak with individuals one-on-one. We basically kind of take a look at your area, your neighborhood, and we take a general analysis of that area, so that you guys could get an understanding of what exactly the B&B market looks like inside your area. And I say B&B, I say Airbnb a lot, but in reality, these things are short-term rentals. So short-term rentals is going to be a key term that we talk about a lot here on the channel. So I'm just going to go into some of my research tools here. All right, so I'm gonna start with South Carolina, and I'm also gonna go at Florida, and I'm gonna go at Tennessee right away to show you guys some analysis techniques here. Nothing's moving. All right. And the reason I pick those areas, most of you might believe and might instantly just think that, Florida should be a great area for Airbnbs. South Carolina should be a great area for Airbnbs. And a lot of people right now are talking about Tennessee being great areas for Airbnbs. And really, everything we said here is so far anecdotal. Until you actually get into analyzing the deal, that's when everything kind of hits reality and changes for you. All right, so coming off of I travel a lot. All right, I'm sure maybe some of you guys out there travel a lot. South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, right? I'm sure many of you probably go to Myrtle Beach, maybe go to Calabas, anywhere south of the border. You would think, yeah, there's got to be great Airbnb opportunities in those neighborhoods. So let's just start here. I'm going to take a look at North Myrtle Beach, and kind of walk you guys through some things around analyzing a deal. Love Myrtle Beach, but I'm in Charleston. I'm scared for Charleston right now. There's a lot of talks about about Charleston banning Airbnb. You guys catching that? All right, so I've done a search on North Myrtle Beach. All right, and it's it's obvious. I picked North Myrtle Beach because there's fewer hotels in North Myrtle Beach. So we'll take a look at North Myrtle Beach. We're going to be looking primarily at homes, residential homes. So the reason why they don't like the tourist attraction, they're saying that it's bringing down the neighborhood. People are opening Airbnbs in more residential communities and not so close to the beaches, and they're calling them a bit of a partiers and bringing down the feel of the neighborhood. That's what's going on in Charleston. All right, so right now, if I'm looking at North Myrtle Beach, where the majority of the condos are, there is currently 5,778 active rentals in that area. These are primarily 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom residential areas. And the traffic right now, majority of the traffic is listed on VBRO and not so much Airbnb, right? So right there, throwing you guys a curveball. Everybody thinks Airbnb is the most active place to find yourselves a beach rental, but actually in this neighborhood, VRBO is the place to find yourselves a rental in North Myrtle Beach. And the reason why VRBO has been around much longer than Airbnb, it was originally HomeAway, right? And so for the past 30 or so years, if you were looking for a rental in that area, you would search HomeAway, which is now VRBO, to find yourselves a beach rental at the shore. You'll find this is true for much of the southern states and the coastal eastern coastal areas. So what you're seeing right now with the 5,778 active rentals, that's pretty saturated. Average door rate is $243 for a 3-bedroom. Okay. You could say that's possibly good, right? You might be imagining like, wow, that seems pretty good, right? I actually strive to find areas where I could rent the door rate for $400 a night. Okay. Now the occupancy rate in this area is around 73%, and it does dip down significantly in the winter months, and that really drives your revenue for the year. Okay. So it dips down to about 17% in January and has a high of July at 100%. So it's fully booked, through the months of June, July, and August. And that's primarily where you make the majority of your funding, of your revenue. But on that 3-bedroom, in a July months coming in at $243, you're expected to earn about $5,883. Okay. So that's to me, that's not a fantastic deal. Okay. It could be a great deal for somebody if you find the right priced property. Yeah, per month, that would be $5,883 per month gross revenue for the month of July. Okay. Now remember, you do have some bills you got to take out of there, right? So especially if you have a mortgage could be anywhere between $1,000 and $1,500. It's more challenging to find yourself leased agreements in these areas. So rental arbitraging is not something that's simple to do in an area like this. But take it for the year. If you had $243 times the 365 for the year, and then at 73% occupied, you're looking at a take of $64,000 for that particular area. And naturally, your mortgage will be around, mortgage and all in on expenses will be around $20,000, especially if you have some HOAs. So you're looking to profit about $44,000 in that area. Okay, so that's not terrible. It's not terrible, but it's not amazing either. Okay, I actually aim for areas and just I do a lot of market research on these areas, and I do a lot of it through Zoom calls and meeting people, and they just ask, hey, can we check out my area? And we go through the analysis, and suddenly we'll find something new. I actually look for areas that are less saturated, so I'm looking for areas that have 300 or fewer short-term rentals in the area, and usually areas that have a big draw. So looking for ski resorts, looking for lakes, looking for areas that you can have fire pits out in the backyard. Maybe you're in the middle of the woods somewhere. Those areas in the months of July can actually see $10,000 per month in the months of July, because the door rate is around $400 on those doors. So we'll take a look at one of those deals in just a moment. So that was South Carolina. South Carolina's, we'll put South Carolina in the moderate zone, right? They're averaging per month $3,498 at $243 a door. All right, let's take a look at Florida. I'm going to look at two parts of Florida here for a moment, okay? We're going to look at the Gulf side of Florida, and I do this all the time, and we're going to look at closer to Miami, okay? So this will be a fun one. I'm going to type in Miami here. You would think you'll become a millionaire, right? Getting yourself a B&B in Miami. All right, so Miami right now has 9,500 active rentals. All right, remember I said I try and aim for around 300, and you could check neighboring areas. Okay, so if you look at the neighboring areas around Miami, you'll see that there's clusters around it, averaging about 5,000 active rentals. So as you get closer to Miami, you're gonna have more active rentals, but even in those surrounding areas, you're gonna find yourself with a lot of active rentals. So that overall demographic probably has about 30 or so thousand active rentals in that area. Why would they audit? Fort Lauderdale, 4,800 active rentals. Bend, Oregon. All right, I'll check out Bend, Oregon. So in the area of Miami, all right, they are currently heavily listed on Airbnb. We're looking at condos. These are rentals averaging 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom is the majority of them. So 1 bedroom studios is where the majority of the rentals are coming from. 2 bedrooms is really the second highest. And they're only getting $197 for the night on average. Right? You got to be saying Miami, right? For the month of July, remember we just looked at South Carolina, and South Carolina came in around $5,400 or so dollars. For the month of July at 71% occupied, they only hit about 80% in the summer months. Month of July, they pulled in $3,913. So for the overall year in Miami, an Airbnb or a short-term rental will pull you about $2,651 per month. So that's not very significant. And that comes down to saturation. So if I take a look at that, let me clear this out of here. 197 times. That'll leave you with gross of around $51,000. And remember, there'll probably be about $20,000 taken out of that as well for your expenses. So that's going to leave you with some profit around $30,000 for Miami. All right, I'm going to jump over to Clearwater, Florida here. Show you the difference between what's happening on both sides of the coast here. So Clearwater, Florida has 659 active rentals. It's a nice area. It's just outside of Tampa, right? If you get into some of the outer areas here, still low, 283 active rentals. So for that overall Tampa region, close to the Gulf side, you're probably looking about 2,000 active rentals total. All right, so much better, less saturated. Average size here is 1 to 2 bedrooms as well, so that's pretty comparable to what's happening over in Miami. Your nightly door here is 163, 76% occupied, but in the summer months jumps up to about 100%. And you're looking at July months of $4,260. So a little bit higher than what's happening in Miami. For the year, $63. For the year, you're looking at about $63,000 in gross. Remember to take away $20,000, so you're looking to gross around $43,000 in this area. All right, Bend, Oregon. Bend, Oregon. I've never been to Bend, Oregon. I've been to Portland quite a few times. What's exciting about Bend, Oregon? Is that Lindsay? Looks like there's some national parks. Paulina Peak is here. Mount Bachelor, South Sister, South Padre Island, Texas. Yeah, I actually did South Padre Island in Texas once before. I'll do that again. Very saturated. Very saturated. I want to say if I remember right, there was 15,000 active rentals, but I'll check that out for you guys as well. South Padre Island. I know a lot of nationals from Mexico come over to South Padre. All right. So this is an interesting one. Bend, Oregon. Bend, Oregon, okay? 3 bedroom is your average. All right. So you're going to need to find residents that have 3 bedrooms. And typically 3 bedrooms, if you think about it, can sleep 8 to 10 people. Okay. 2 per bedroom. And then you could put some areas and you could put some futons out there and maybe possibly sleep an extra 4 people. But comfortably 6 people, up to 10 people if they want to stretch and be a little bit uncomfortable. But the nightly door here in Bend, Oregon, $254, not terrible. Remember, I was saying I try and aim for $400 a door. I also look for areas that are not as saturated, so under 300. This one has 3,212 active rentals, which would be why you're seeing $254 for the nightly rate. Basically, everybody's robbing each other, right? So the more active rentals you open here, you're taking down your nightly door rental. If you're in areas that are 300 or fewer and you're charging that $400 per night, and there's not many options, they sell out rather quickly, and that allows you to drive up your nightly door. All right, this is 78% occupied, not terrible. In the months of July, $6,498. And you still see December through the winter months, approximately $3,200 through the winter months. That's not bad at all. But I imagine the cost of real estate in this area is probably pretty high. We'll take a look at that in a minute. 365. 78. $72,000 is what you would gross in Bend, Oregon, if you had a 3-bedroom residence. Now remember, you're going to take away some of that funds for, you're going to have to pay some mortgages, so on and so forth. Where do you go to check the information? That's part of the top secret tricks. $72,000 is what you're going to profit here. So in Bend, Oregon, I'm just going to check some real estate real quick in Bend. I'm going to guess you're paying $300,000-$400,000 in Bend. That's just a guess. Let's go take a look at Zillow here real quick. $469, $579, $699, 5 beds, $674. I was off. It's 2x. $459. So here's one, 2 bedrooms, $384, $575. Yeah, it's quite high. So if you're averaging $500,000 for a property in Bend, Oregon, much of what you're earning in gross is going to be consumed, right? So let's say your mortgage is now $2,500 plus your expenses. I don't know if there's HOAs in these areas. 30. You're probably looking at about $32,000 that's going to be consumed against the mortgage. So that brings you back down to around $40,000 earned for Bend, Oregon. All right. So when you compare that to what's going on in Florida, you're pretty comparable so far. South Carolina so far is the biggest winner. South Carolina properties are averaging $250,000, $300,000 along the coast. All right, South Padre Island in Texas. Yeah, there it is. Quite a cluster there. South Padre real estate. Looks like mostly condos. $359 is what you're paying. So I remember doing the analysis on this one, and there wasn't a lot of profit in South Padre. 2,500 active rentals in South Padre. Okay. Tight cluster. So, Lindsay, not bad. You like 40,000 for the year? Do you own properties in Bend currently? All right, so South Padre. This is what I did not like about South Padre. 53% occupied for the year. Okay, that's not very good. Majority of the properties here are 2 bedrooms, so you have small rentals. The nightly door looks like it varies $200 up to $318 in the summer months. So you can find yourself around 6,000 profit in the summer months here. But in the winter, it's going to drop down to $1,000, right? 50% occupied. So January months, you're not earning very much money off that door. So when you take a look at it for the year, 249. It leaves you with a profit of gross revenue about $45,000. And remember, you're going to take away 20,000 or so dollars from that number, leaving you with a profit of $25,000 after your expenses. All right, so we looked at South Carolina, we looked at Florida, we looked at South Bend, Oregon. We took a look at Texas, South Padre, Texas. Whoever asked about South Padre, Texas, whoever looked at South Padre, Texas, if you go a bit north and you want to find some good areas, if you look up at Lake Shores, some good areas up there. Callahan is some good areas up in the lake areas. Lake Hills outside of San Antonio, great areas up there. Those areas perform very well with Airbnbs. Medina Lake, up in those neighborhoods, you actually can see profit around $10,000 in your summer months, and for the year here, find yourself about $60,000 after all expenses are paid. All right. All right. All right, we looked at Tennessee. We didn't look at Tennessee yet. Maybe we'll save that for another day. I want to talk about a place. Where I'm considering moving my investments to. I have some properties currently in Ohio, and a viewer called me after a Zoom call, and we spoke a bit about what's going on in Columbus, Ohio. Now, Columbus, Ohio isn't the area that I want to plan to move into. Columbus has most of the B&Bs in the Columbus area are room shares. Okay, so that means you're not renting the whole residence; you're just renting out a share of the property, like one room inside the one room inside the property. Yeah, if anybody, I saw a question there asking if you guys can chat with me one-on-one. You guys could check out my Instagram. Just head over to my Instagram. It's AskBilder, AskBilder. Just send me a private message over there. AskBilder, no spaces, and we could certainly set up something to chat. Again, I do Zoom calls Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am booked for the next 2 weeks in my Zoom calls. I have a max of 40 in every Zoom call, and they are booked for the next 2 weeks. I don't book anything outside of 2 weeks, primarily because I got to kind of control my scheduling a bit here. What if you own your property but want to earn money? What if you don't own your own property and you want to earn money? Rental arbitraging is the technique if you don't own your own property. All right, so be careful when you rental arbitrage. Rental arbitrage is a great technique. It basically means that you could rent a property and then re-rent it in the daily management market, right? So you're going to rent a place for a month and re-rent it daily. You have to make sure that you have that written inside of your lease in order to do that. Okay, so not everybody could just go out and rental arbitrage. It takes a lot of negotiating skills. You can start this process with $50. I actually teach that in my crash course. So there's a crash course. I'll leave a link after we close this live stream. I'll leave links inside the live stream where you could check out my crash course where you learn how to open a rental arbitrage for $50. Go through some negotiating techniques with the landlords to take over that property. Fill it with furniture for $50. Right? I try and keep things very modest so you have very low risk when you're getting into something that you're trying to test the waters on. And it's also good to try rental arbitraging when you're heading into new markets. So don't just go out. You know, we talked about South Carolina, we talked about Florida, we talked about Tennessee. It's not so simple to just go and rent properties in those areas either. Okay. So it's good that if you want to try Airbnb for the first time, you don't own properties, and you find yourselves in a low saturated area that has a demand for people wanting to come to those areas. Rental arbitraging is a good technique to test out the waters. If you head into new markets like Columbus, Ohio, you could rent properties in Columbus, Ohio. You'd actually be a leader because most of the properties there are room shares. So you could get yourself into that market and still find margin on top of what you're paying out for your rent versus what you are getting in your daily management. Okay, so I wanted to talk about an area that's performing well, and primarily the Columbus area. Okay, so I was speaking with somebody on a private one-on-one, and we were talking about Columbus, Ohio, and this individual wanted to open a B&B in that area, and I told them that if they go out to Millersport, just a little bit east of where they are, go out to Buckeye Lake area, that they will find themselves a hidden gem over there. All right, so this area is a lake area. It draws a lot of attraction and attention from Columbus, people wanting to visit the area. The nightly door here was $206. It'll occupy itself 71% of the year, so it's not terrible in the winter months. And the cost of real estate here was a bit modest. All right, so you can find yourself purchasing a property here for about $200,000 to $300,000. So you have good control over what the cost of your mortgage looks like. There's not many HOAs in these neighborhoods, and there's only 31 active rentals. Okay, so you're actually putting yourself as a leader in this particular area. The overall April months found profit of around $6,000 for this area. Okay, so when you're taking a look at the nightly door, I close my calculator. Six. $60,000 for the year in gross. Now remember, I was saying that the mortgage here is a bit modest. Okay, so you can find yourself being left with maybe $15,000 in expenses for the year here, and pull ahead a bit. Right now, that's going to anticipate $45,000 in net profit. But because you're coming into the area as a leader, if you excel inside the short-term rental market, you could find yourself being able to charge a bit higher for your door. Find yourself being able to charge almost $300 for your door, still meeting the same occupancy rates as everybody else. But what I noticed in this area is their amenities were a bit short. Okay. They don't have things like hot tubs. They don't have things like pools. They don't even have cable TV in these areas. Okay. And those are the opportunities that if you put a hot tub in and cable TV in, it doesn't cost much to do that. You're going to find yourself being the first one chosen from all of the other listings that are on here. And if you come in at $100 extra, you're going to find yourselves profiting closer to $60,000 in this area. Thanks, Lindsay. Thanks for tuning in. All right, guys. All right, we're getting close to 1 o'clock. I was going to stream here for about an hour. I was really going to do about a 45-minute stream, so we're actually heading close to the closing here. Any other thoughts and comments around what's happening with short-term rentals? Wow, even the spammers are joining us here. Never trust those spam comments. All right, a comment just came across. Never trust comment scammers. They are all over the big channels that post EIDL videos. Never trust them. They just want to steal your money. They convince you to thinking that you're talking to me on Instagram. Actually, I started doing this, so if people talk to me on Instagram, I do a short little live stream, so you could do a video conference with me. And then, once you see that you're actually speaking to me, then we could talk about other topics. So if you ever have doubt and you're ever questioning that you're actually talking to, say, me through Instagram, ask to live video chat. And if the person cannot live video chat with you, then you're not talking to me. Okay. That's probably the best way of doing it. But the comment scammers, they trick you. Most of them are coming from Nigeria. I recognize this because I have 99.9% of all of my viewers are from the United States, and then this very small tier comes from Nigeria, and that's where all the comment scammers are coming from. They change their accounts regularly after they're blocked, and they just come back and try and scam you into sending them money for EIDL support. So never send them any money for any types of EIDL support. All right, guys. Remember, if you want to get on my Zoom calls, I'll post a link. Check me out on Instagram. That's ASKBILDER. You guys can find me on Instagram. Send a private message over there. You can join my Zoom calls Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have limited seats. 40 seats total is what I like to stay at, because a lot of interaction when a lot of questions are coming across the Zoom calls. I also do private messaging. I also do private calls to people that are interested in becoming partners. One of the key takeaways from this current video is you can search your market, right? Many people, scammers are invited to play squad games. Many people right now will have the ideas to open B&Bs in their neighborhoods, and that's a great idea. It's always good to start with your current market, explore that market, and if you find that the proper profits are in place and you're satisfied with the gross margins that you could get, I mean, that's great. The opportunities that I present, I actually look for the top margins that I could possibly find, because I'm in many different states. I'm in Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania. I'm heading into New York now. I'm in New Jersey. So I search areas where I could maximize my margins. I try and find places where I could get top dollar for the door, around $400 for a nightly door rate. Top occupancies, obviously, and I want to pay as little as possible for that real estate. Okay. I typically don't go over $200,000 when I'm buying real estate, and I'm getting $400 for the nightly doors. Okay. So if you guys want to talk about things like that, find me on Instagram. You guys could private message me over there. I do seek partners. I do seek partners to join your areas as well. I'll open B&Bs with you guys in your neighborhoods, and you guys could open B&Bs in my neighborhoods as well. Guys, what's going on in national news in your neighborhoods? Are you guys small business owners tuning in today? What kinds of businesses are you guys running? Reconsideration calling from South Cali. SoCal, huh? I used to live in SoCal. What part of SoCal? We got a stylist. Awesome. I could use a haircut right about now. I used to live in Seal Beach, and I lived in Long Beach. Court reporters. Wow. Cosmetologist. I buy houses with creative finance. I buy houses, creative finance. Are you a flipper? My hair looks nice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I wish I could see your hair. I imagine your hair always looks nice as well, being a stylist. Somebody just posted they were a person who buys houses. Oh, thank you. Thanks for tuning in all the time. I know I've been away. I haven't any videos this past month. Normally I post 30 videos, one every single day. But in recent times, I've been having to find myself on the road quite a bit. So in winter months is when I go out and I purchase the majority of my real estate, because I try and prepare myself for the summer. There's a big surge every summer of travelers. So I build up a bunch of cash over the summer, and then I prepare myself to get out there and spend that cash before I have to pay all the taxes on it, obviously. Only the exit is necessary. Okay. And so I go out and I buy real estate throughout the winter months. You love subject twos. Okay. So what you find, yes, I am also a full-time parent. Yep. I'm also a full-time parent. I have 4 children. So yesterday was pretty awesome. I took them all to an apple farm. We do this every year. We go to an apple orchard farm. So I filmed a video at the apple orchard farm yesterday, but due to music playing in the background, YouTube hit me with some restrictions. So I have to now pretty much do a whole voiceover the entire thing and repost that video without the music in the background. 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are the Zoom calls. I am booked for the next 2 weeks. Yeah, I know. Single father of 3. I feel you. So if you guys want to join the Zoom calls, it's ASKBILDER. Find me on Instagram. I have a meeting later today. I actually built a new landing page. So I'm going to launch that landing page here after today's meeting. So just getting some final touches placed on it, and should have that landing page active here within the next day or so. So you guys could go in there. It's interactive, right? If you're trying to reach me to talk about EIDL, you can reach me that way. I did post a lot of things on PPP. Some individuals still come forward asking questions around PPP. I don't know if you guys realize it, but there are still tons of funding opportunities out there. If you're in the small business space and you have employees, more than one employee beside yourself, there is a ton of money out there that you could still capitalize on from the CARES Act and from True Fan. Thank you. From the CARES Act and the American Rescue Plan, tons and tons and tons of money available to people, small businesses with employees. All right, find me. You guys could find me on Instagram. I'll clue you guys into all that as well. That will also be found on my landing page. I like to help people find funding. I mean, that's The key to my game has always been finding funding, going out and purchasing real estate. Opening a YouTube channel certainly helped me. Naturally, I monetized my channel last year after I had some PPP videos. Through the year, this year, 2021, it wasn't terrible to me. YouTube was not a terrible thing to me. I didn't make a ton of money on YouTube, but allowed me to access a lot of individuals, teach them a lot of things on how to build